intro. Yeah. Look out your window. Knicks fans is on your block. Y'all know the Knicks run the city. Pull them shades back. Look out your window. Look down there on the block. That's Knicks fans right there. It's about that time. It's about that time of the week where you get ready for your work week with the man that is so smooth. He does not require a chaser. Your main man, the real Anthony D. And your main man, Jersey's finest, the hood representative, Uncle Freezy. The most fire intro in the game.
Still.
The most fire show in the game. Old school Knicks. Uncle Freezy. The man is so smooth that he does not require a chaser. Anthony D is in the building. Salute, sir.
Salute. Good morning. Salute, Knick Nation. Excuse me, and Uncle Freezy's drop in, drop out lately.
Yeah, man.
We acting like we roll on the corner picking up our dough whenever we want to. Like, we're gonna be here. Y'all gonna be here. We're gonna be back. No, I'm just joking.
I gotta figure it out, bro. I'm struggling financially to get to a stable place because I got so much stuff going on. I'm not crying for help, everybody. I'm just saying I'm at one of those places where you know how you see the tsunami coming and the tsunami hit and then the tsunami is gone, but now you have to clean up after the tsunami. That's where I am with it, right? So I'm plugging, doing some things. So I'm on the other side of a lot of stuff. So doing the business thing that didn't take off as fast as I wanted to, and it's my dream, right? So it's my dream thing, but it's not taking off as fast as I wanted it to. But at the same time, I'm sticking with it. I'm doing some other stuff, and so I'm at that place of I'm doing kind of what I want to, but it's just not taking off as fast as I want it to. But you know how when you invest in yourself, you gotta stay invested in yourself. So
absolutely, that's how that works.
Yeah, that's how it works, bro.
As you give up, the first thing that's gonna happen, women gonna look at you like, you know how much money we done invested in.
Yeah, I know. And then,
you better get out there, go sell those, those rental spoons, those rental spoons. Get out there, rental spoons.
Yeah, man. They're called reusable diapers. I know it's getting to a point where I'm gonna have to probably go back to walking in the mall in the middle of the day, passing out cards and all that stuff. So, but things are what they are, man. It did nothing fails but a try, right? Absolutely. If you don't try, you can't fail.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. So you ready for this playoff run, bro?
As ready as I'm gonna be. The question is, are the Knicks, the players, the coaches, management, are they ready?
Right.
Have they fortified this team enough to be ready for the playoffs? We shall see.
I was gonna call you Monday, right? I was gonna call you Monday because I had a lot of stuff sports related on my mind. I was gonna call you Monday and talk your ear off for like 4 hours. No lie, back to back. If you'd have hung up, I was gonna call you right.
Sports is hot, Freezy. It always was. It always will be. No matter how we try and get away from it. The moment I got touched into sports, it was like that was it. You know what I mean? And it's kind of like this weekend or these couple of days would be kind of like some kind of a incubator anniversary because March 8th is the anniversary date for Ali Frazier 1. And you would have thought I was there because from the moment I know myself, that's the first sports conversation that I can remember.
Yeah. Yep. Ali Frazier.
Ali
Yep.
Frazier 1.
Ali Frazier. I'll take the one the thing that I remember most, like my earliest, and I'm gonna hit you with the question that I got for you. But
Of
my
course.
earliest memory of sports was not the moment, but the feeling in the city, like, yo, we can't lose. We winning everything. So the Mets at the time, at the time that I remember, and I'm not saying I remember these moments. I'm saying I remember the feeling of these moments. Like the city was buzzing, basically. At this moment, the Knicks had won a championship, right? The Jets had won the Super Bowl, right? And the Mets were the World Series champions, right? So it's like this strange thing of I think one year the Knicks, Jets, and Mets all win, and then I'm like a little boy after that coming along, you in that moment, and then the Knicks win a championship again. And I remember like standing around watching all my people celebrate. Now I wasn't old enough to understand what was going on, but as I go back in the photo album, I'm looking at my uncle with his I'm looking at my uncle with like 8 cans of Schlitz over here and the thing. You remember back in the day when, and this might be a black people thing, right? But you remember when at parties they used to tape balloons to the wall?
This is definitely a black people thing.
Yo, yeah. I look at the
This
pictures
is
and all the
definitely
balloons taped to the wall and
taped
all
to
that.
the wall.
Taped to the
Taped to the
wall.
wall, and the girls got on dresses that start from like here.
Yes, yes,
Start from like here
yes.
and cover everything down to the white
Everything.
stockings that
Yep.
started at like you can't see them until the ankle with
Right.
them Buster Brown looking shoes. You know,
Right. And then AD, and then I looked, right, and then there's a picture, there's two pictures on the wall, right? One is the Jesus Christ picture where he got the ultra perm, he out there looking like Cat Williams. And then and the other one is Martin Luther King with the pose like this. That everybody in their house had.
hey,
And so when I'm looking at it, when I'm looking at that stuff, man, I'm like, man, those must be the best times ever to be in New York right there. When the whole town is buzzing about around championships. Like if for those that are younger than me, it's like the ceiling, it's like that feeling when the Giants were winning the Super Bowl and the Yankees were relevant, like in the World Series and winning. Right? You just felt like that, you just couldn't lose. But
as a sports fan, for those, because those are not, that's not our generation. It can, we'd have to have somebody on that could speak to, that could really directly speak to it.
right.
Speak to, you know, how important was sports, or we look at it now and we're like the trifecta. Oh my God, if we were ever to get the trifecta now, like, did they look at it like that? Like, did they even call it the trifecta? You know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
okay, Knicks won, great. It's the city's team, no
Yeah.
doubt. The
Yeah.
Mets win, they're amazing. It's the
Right.
amazing Mets.
Right.
The Jets win, it's Broadway Joe
Yeah.
and all of that, and the guarantee. Right? But were they really thinking like we're gonna do this as each one come about, or it's just more like, you know what, it's a part of the times, it's a part of the culture. There's a lot of other things going on. We got Watergate, we got this,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Right.
We got all these other things
Right.
going
The
on here.
emergence, the emergence of disco, the end of Vietnam. You got
There's,
all these things going on.
you know, there's a lot of things going on. So how important, you know, was it? And but to that point, do you remember this show? I'm sure you do. The Wonder Years,
Yeah, I remember that.
not the remake,
No,
the original.
the good one. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Hey, the remake was good too. They just
The
didn't give it a chance. They
remake
didn't
was
give it. They didn't give it a chance. They didn't. But anyway, I'm gonna get back to that. If you remember in the show, especially in the beginning, the main character, he's wearing a Letterman 1969 New York Jets jacket.
Yep, yep, yep.
That family, that time, and that show, it was not in New York. See what I'm saying? So, you know, maybe what we experience as fans or whatever, it was the same thing then, but probably just a little bit different. Because obviously the writers of that movie or that TV show wanted to let you know what was happening in 1969.
Yep.
And in 1969, there's no bigger athlete than Joe Willie Namath.
Everywhere, bro. He everywhere.
He everywhere.
He is every. When I say everywhere, bro, I mean absolutely everywhere. When you go back and watch, if you go to YouTube and watch some of the NFL Today on CBS, Musburger, Phyllis George, Irv, what's
Earth
Irv?
Cross.
Yeah, Irv Cross, and all of them, Jane Kennedy, all of them. And man, when you go back and look at those, bro, you
Ooh,
like that had to be the greatest time, you know. And
I
and
would
and then
I would have been her personal intern.
yes,
Whatever she wanted, Miss Kennedy, whatever you want.
on a jiffy.
Just call me. Just call me, Miss Kennedy. I'm
Oh
right
my,
there.
oh my
I'm
God.
right there. I'm washing the car, whatever you want. I'm
Any
right there.
anything.
Cause she was motherfucker to the max.
Yes.
To the max. People don't. I had not to cut your wisdom, Freezy. I had a conversation about her maybe like a couple of months ago, and I was like, that's someone that when she exited the stage, she just really exited the stage. And
Yeah.
I think she got remarried and had more children and or had children, because at the time when she was married to Leon Isaac Kennedy, they didn't have any children.
Right. Right.
Right. So she gets, and she was just, oh my God, she was beautiful.
And she wasn't Donna Summer beautiful, right? She was like whatever goes beyond whatever the what she wasn't penultimate. She was like whatever the end edition of beauty is,
And
right?
in Uptown Saturday Night, she is the beginning scene. You see her legs.
Yeah.
You see her legs
Bill
and stuff
Cosby driving
as
the truck.
Bill Cosby driving the forklift. You just
Yeah,
see
yeah,
her legs. It starts from her legs coming up,
yeah.
and a lot of people don't know that's like her first role or one of her first early roles in Hollywood, and all she had was like what, a minute on screen.
Bro, gorgeous, bro.
That was it. Just absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, but go back to your point, Freeze. That took.
Nah. What I was getting at is I think this moment that we're in right now, and salute to everybody in the chat. Salute to the chat, man. We see y'all. Thank y'all for joining us this morning, man. Salute to y'all. And I'm gonna challenge the chat also with this, because I was gonna call Anthony D on Monday and ask him this question. What if those talented early 90s Knicks teams had the stability of this organization? Or what if this stable organization had the talent of those early 90s teams? Would we have won championships then, Or what if we had Pat Ewing, Mark Jackson, Rod Strickland, John Starks, Gerald Wilkins, Xavier McDaniels, and I'm saying all of their names, right? Just saying all of their names, because a stable organization would have figured out a way to fix it, right? What if we had all that talent now? Would this team be able to win a championship? I want to start back in the early '90s, though. AD, if Pat Ewing and them guys, say starting around '89, had this type of stability, do you think the Knicks would have won any championships or multiple?
Well, God, I wasn't trying to get into that mode here today, but thank you. Thank you for starting for getting the battery started in my
That's what
back.
I was going to call you one day and ask you that. I was going to call you, no lie, I was going to call you one day
Um,
and ask you that.
here's the thing. Ewing was leaving that summer of '91 because they had no stability. He had six coaches and like four general managers in 5 years,
Yep,
right?
yep,
The new garden head is Checkets from out of the league office. The league office now steps in and strongly suggests that the Knicks hire Checkets,
a basketball man.
a basketball man,
Yep,
right? But no one kind of knew him. Like fans didn't. It wouldn't be like how today you'd ready to know, like, oh, that general manager, he was in the college coach, this, that, third, or whatever. We basically was going like, all right, if the league got to step in, then this guy must be something, or right. So his then first move, he makes a major swing. He gets Pat Riley.
yep,
Okay, Ewing is still going, I'm not impressed.
yep,
All right, him and Riley meet. Riley basically tells him, I'm gonna give you all I got
yep,
in hopes to win the championship.
yep.
This management, when they came in, it's a lot different in the terms of the cupboard wasn't totally bare. I mean, the cupboard wasn't bare there because they had a future 75, player. The
Right,
Knicks, this management didn't walk in with that. They
right.
walked in with Randall, RJ, cap space,
Draft picks.
and a lot of draft picks. You know, so this management, let's keep it a buck. In that first year or two or whatever, I know I'm on record highly critical. They were making some lateral moves that just didn't make any sense.
Right,
So I don't want to say they came in and they came and brought this stability,
right.
because that just wouldn't be fair,
That's not, and it wasn't accurate.
and it's not right. You know what I mean? So that management back then, I believe they tried to surround Ewing with not only players that matched his mentality and the
Right.
brute force of the Pistons and so forth, but I just thought that they were trying to win. They were trying to win. They just weren't able to get it. Like no one back then, nobody was just going to give you their star player to match up with that guy just because.
Right, right, right. So the Pat Riley and Pat Ewing thing kind of had they had a lot more in common than what the obvious things. Because if you look at, one dude is an Italian white dude from Hell's Kitchen, right? He from New York, right?
Well, he's from I think Scranton.
He's from Scranton. Okay. Okay.
He's like upstate New York,
Okay.
Catskill, something, somewhere, something around there.
I
But
thought it
he's
was
from
Southeastern. It's not.
he no, but he's from the land.
Okay. Okay. Right. So he had New York City sensibilities, right? Is basically the point that I'm getting at.
Right.
Right. The other is a second gen, highly touted, once in a lifetime player from Boston area, right? Who kind of despised Boston just because of people ignorances back in those days, right? Like if you didn't speak Boston, and Boston is not, and I don't want to shade Boston, right?
Shade him. You can shade
Right.
him. It's fine.
But Boston is not the most welcoming place historically to people of any type. I don't care. If you're Irish, you're hated. If you're Italian, you're hated. If you're black, you're hated. If you're in whatever, people from Boston find ways to dislike everybody, right? Right? And be racist, right? And so you have the Pat Riley thing of playing against the Celtics all these years and despising them. And then Pat Riley with a background of regretting some of the things that happened while he was in Boston. Those two come together in New York City with a common goal, right? And then at the same time, people and I don't know if people remember this or not, but a lot of people were saying Pat Riley was not a great coach. He just had a ton of great players. That was one of the narratives leaving the Lakers for Pat Riley. Now it may not have been the main narrative, but one of those things is, can Pat Riley do it without two top 10 players of all time on his roster? And when you look back at the Lakers, those Lakers teams that he won championships with, he had names like Bob McAdoo and Michael Thompson coming off his bench. You know what I'm saying? He had names like Spencer Haywood coming off the bench for him, right? This dude had a motivated Kareem. The Kareem in the 70s, the Kareem from the mid 70s to about 80. And I don't want to say it was paycheck Kareem, but one could speculate that was paycheck Kareem, right? I'm just go
Oh,
out here. I'm gonna make the All-Star team.
That's so disrespectful.
I'm not saying it in that way. I'm not saying that he didn't have the love for the game. What I'm saying is you didn't see that fire in Kareem until Magic got there with the Lakers. You know what I'm saying?
Fair.
And so when Magic gets there, he flips a switch for the Lakers. He's exactly what any organization needed, right? Right. And so when you're looking at Pat Riley's resume with the Lakers, you're like, so you got Jerry West in the front office, him and Mitch Kupchak, right? You have Dr. Buss, still a young man, so to speak, in his 50s, right? So to speak, helping them. Dr. Buss, like mid 40s, late 40s, early 50s, whatever.
Man about town.
Man about
Dr. Buss. Get it
right.
Get
They,
it right.
You wouldn't, and the people of LA, if y'all say this, stop it. Y'all lying. You could not give away Lakers tickets, right? At that point, right? Magic comes to town. It's like a whirlwind of everything, right? It's like the perfect storm, and the Lakers go on a run, and they become one of the greatest franchises of all time. But people were saying, yo, what would Pat Riley do if he had to build a team from scratch? A lot of people questioned him. My uncles and them questioned him. They're like, hey, man, he ain't got Magic. What he gonna do here? Pat is not Kareem, is basically what a lot of people were saying. We don't have a point guard. That's what a lot of people were saying at the time. Even though Mark Jackson was here, and shout out to Mark Jackson for the podcast. I have a newfound appreciation for Mark Jackson after I hear him talk on this podcast. But um, Pat Riley and Pat Ewing at that time both had something to prove. Kind of like with Pat Ewing, kind of in that Carl Anthony Towns type sense. When you're the number one pick and you put up all these gaudy numbers, but you don't win championships and you don't do anything, people look at you in that mindset like, okay, you were the number one pick and you putting up good numbers, but what does that mean? Are we gonna win? Like, Pat, can you get us a championship? And so every time we lost in the playoffs to the Bulls or whoever, cats put all the blame not on ownership, not on the front office, not on the coach, not on the starting five, not on the bench, not on the roster, not on the guard, not on the fans, not on the newspapers. All the blame for us not winning a championship solely fell on the shoulders of Patrick Ewing. Was it fair?
What?
No.
No, it's not fair, Freezy. It's really not. But at the end of the day, Freezy, that's what you sign up for, my guy.
I know.
And these in these shark infested waters over here, back then we were what, 15 years from a championship?
Yep.
Right? Yep. We're now 51 years from a championship.
Yep.
So the waters are even more stoked.
Right.
The people who were questioning Riley and stuff at that moment in time are the cynics that you're never going to be able to please the cynics.
I understand.
If you win 5 championships, you could have won 10.
Right.
If you won 10, you should have won 15. The margin of victory should have been, you're never going to please those folks because they're there. The cynics of that time are the trolls of today.
Right.
See what I'm saying? The trolls of today who respect the second championship before you even get to the first championship.
Right.
That kind of madness. The cynics of that day were, is he more than a suit and a slick back?
Right.
You saw immediately that what that kind of focused energy, winning energy, because energy can be bad as well. That kind of focused winning energy, I'm going to give you all I got. And not only that, the star player buys in because inside of him, he's basically that kind of guy. I want to work hard. Let's practice, whatever. I've already bought in.
Yep.
It's the dilemma is, who do you keep and what do you need?
Right.
They thought they were able to solve that problem right there when they traded for Charles Smith.
Yep.
Okay. I can't go back in time and change it. I was a proponent for that trade because Charles Smith was a major forward at that time. A young dude. Well, I wouldn't say major forward, but he was a young, like he was on the rise. Look at his games, some of his games that he played with the Clippers. Right. So if we're gonna fault them is where they decided to push, not necessarily all in, but where they decided to say, well, this is gonna help Pat the most.
Right.
And it just never connected because he, Charles just wasn't that guy. He just wasn't. And he sacrificed his body, number one, because Charles Smith was 6'10", or is 6'10", when in his playing days for the Knicks, 6'10", and about 250, 255 power forward.
but they
Then
bulked him up, and but they
no, the Knicks made him lose weight.
no, not the Knicks. No, not the Knicks. I'm talking about the Clippers. Remember at Pitt, Charles Smith was not 250. This dude was like 225.
Yeah, but he was 19, 20 years old at that point.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you, but what I'm saying is his peak. He probably should have been more like a Kevin Garnett build, right? But they bulked him up to like this weird, almost Alonzo Mourning type build with the Clippers, like 6'10",
Well,
255.
he's broad. Look at pictures of Charles Smith's shoulder. Charles Smith, his shoulders are ridiculous.
Right.
He has like Dwight Howard's type shoulders across the bar. He's absolutely like
But he was a run,
jacked.
but he was a run jump athlete. It's like what happened when they put all that weight on Camby. Remember when they put all that weight on Camby? They put
Yes.
all that weight on Camby, and Camby was never the same. Remember when Camby was a run jump athlete?
Well, I mean, you could say he was. I mean, I don't want to deter, but remember when he started gaining the weight, he was a bit more stable on his feet because that's when he won Defensive Player of the Year.
Right.
That's when his double doubles with Denver. It's like
And
when
he
he
started
got
staying healthy. And he started
right,
staying healthy.
but he was stronger. You
Right.
know, with Charles, it was I'm a 4. The Knicks envision him in this big front line where he's going to be the 3 and chase threes.
Like Derek McKee. Derek McKee was the example, right?
But Derek McKee was naturally interchangeable.
Right.
Derek could play 3, 4, even the 2 if you really needed
Right.
it,
But he was
and
in 225.
direct your offense.
Right.
And I'm not giving Charles an out. Knick fans, please. I'm not giving Charles an out. But
Right.
when you're kind of yo-yoing, right, and you then hurt the knee.
Yep.
We forget that he did hurt the knee, and it never kind of. But okay, all right. Enough with these. I tried to do it. I tried to do it for Charles. I tried. Charles, I tried. I tried.
I get what you're going, but for one, it was
Look,
a bad move. First of all,
it's stop
Yeah.
again. It
and no
haunts
disrespect
my
to Charles Smith.
soul.
No disrespect to Charles Smith because I think he would have had a heck of a career had he not. You know what I'm saying? You know, if he would have just stayed with the Clippers, I think him and Michael Cage would have been something with the
Some
Clippers,
people are
right?
not built for the lights.
And some people can't gain and lose 30 or 40 pounds at a clip.
This is true.
You know what I'm saying? Some people are just not built for that. If the smart thing would have been, and Knicks fans, I know y'all are not gonna agree with me on this. The smart thing would have been trade Oakley for a point guard. Start Anthony Mason. Right? Get you a legit athletic small forward to go find you a because this era that we're talking about, bro, is the Scottie Pippen, Grant Hill type era, right? And Nick Anderson type era, Chris Morris era, and we're telling a starting NBA center to lose 30 pounds and play small forward.
They thought he was athletic enough to handle it. And it's not that he wasn't athletic, just that some things just don't jive. It just don't, it's going to take too much to fit that. And let me say this as well. And this is a point that, I don't think we've ever touched on or, people might have forgotten. When the Knicks make that trade, Charles Smith was clearly the number 2 guy to help Ewing.
Yep.
Right? From the moment they made that trade, it was like, okay, this is something.
Right.
Somewhere along the line, he gets replaced by John Starks.
Yep.
Easily. Like, Starks easily was throwing, get out the way.
Yep.
Let me through. And he just kind of was like, okay.
John
Because
Starks,
that's
yeah, John
because
Starks,
that's not the way it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be Ewing, Smith,
Smith,
Blackman.
Doc Rivers. Yeah, Ewing, Smith, Doc Rivers.
No, but I mean as far as the offensive attack.
Yeah, remember Doc Rivers was an athlete too before he had those knee
But
injuries.
yeah, but Doc was when the Knicks got Doc, Doc was really at the last. He was at the end of his career. Really, at that
Yeah,
point, it was kind of because I think it was him and was
and
Ben.
Blackman. Remember Blackman played the '80s in Dallas.
Yeah, but when they traded for Blackman, they thought that he still had something to give, and that's when analytics kind of knew the
Right,
numbers said that he was very good against Jordan and he could defend and blah 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 blah. And you understand what I'm saying? But the pecking order was Ewing, Smith, Blackman.
right, right. And this
Blackman
is
gets
post
hurt,
Gerald. This is when Gerald Wilkins left to go play for Cleveland. I mean,
right?
yeah, this is
Because
Gerald
Gerald was signed like all of a sudden Cleveland was calling him the Jordan
Yeah,
stopper.
he was. Yeah, he was the Ron Harper replacement. Remember?
He was they were calling him
It's
they thought
funny
he
how
was
things
the
work.
piece.
It's
And
funny
I
how things
like
work.
Gerald. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's funny how things work because maybe if Cleveland never trades Ron Harper out of town and Gerald Wilkins goes to replace him, and then we bring in a guy to replace Gerald Wilkins. It's funny how it's like the butterfly effect or the 6 degrees of separation in my mind. How one move impacts a whole bunch of other moves. But the
Cleveland,
point but the point
I
the
never
point
understood that from Cleveland side to move. I mean, they kept losing to Chicago like us and so forth. They could never get over that, but it didn't make any sense.
remember it was the David Stern cocaine era. Remember and they were like Ron Harper might be and it comes to find out all this stuff is false,
But
right?
they had a
There's
good
there's
team.
they and
If I remember correctly, that Cleveland team won like 55 to 57 games, like
yeah,
3 or 4 years in a row.
yeah, they were great.
Yeah,
They
they
were
were
great.
a good team. With Price, Nance,
Elo,
Elo, Hot
Hot
Rod
Rod,
Williams,
yep,
Doherty,
yep.
um,
John Battle,
Battle,
L. Curry,
Curry. That was a
Kevin
good
Johnson,
team.
yeah, yeah,
Young Kevin Johnson, that was
yeah.
a good team. That was a
Terrell
very
Brandon,
good team. Well, later on, Brandon comes on
yeah.
later on, but that team right there, that was a good team. I can't remember why they traded Harper.
They
I'm gonna
they
look that
they
up.
traded him. It was a specific reason. Ron Harper, they allegedly he had been around drug dealers and all that stuff. And David Stern was pruning people out of the NBA. Remember Andrew Wiggins and the guys from Houston, and then all types of things. So the rumors had got so hot around Ron Harper that Cleveland knee jerked and traded him away. And then they traded him away, and then they just started coming back to the pack after that. You know, and
Yeah.
Gerald Wilkins was not that guy.
They thought they thought he was Gerald. Shout out to Gerald. I mean, I liked Gerald when Gerald was here, but Gerald just
Couldn't shoot, bro.
couldn't shoot.
He just couldn't shoot.
Just couldn't shoot.
Yeah,
Couldn't shoot.
he was mad, bro.
Athletically
He was
gifted, but he
as they
couldn't shoot.
who
He
was
could.
what Nick was more athletic than him, you think? Of all the Knicks you've seen over the years, who was more athletic than Gerald Wilkins? I mean, and I'm talking about contributors. I ain't talking about just random guys.
Okay. Can be.
Can be, yeah, probably. Spreewell, maybe.
I think the Sprewell we got had started to his athleticism had started to kind of
Okay,
teeter just a little bit.
right. Larry Johnson
Joe.
too. By the time we got Larry
Oh my
Johnson,
God, Larry wasn't. I wasn't thinking about Larry at all. You
yeah,
know. I'll have to give this dude this because he is the slam dunk champion. Kenny Walker might have been.
bro. It's like you always want to put the rock in my sleeve, bro.
You're about to fall off your chair.
Yeah,
Like,
that motherfucker was so trash. Yo,
Kenny
these dunk
Walker.
contest participants, bro, that joker make me so bad, bro. I ain't even gonna lie
He's
to you, bro.
Walker.
Bro, I used to sit, man, and for people that don't know, but that don't remember, man, Boston used to have a young shooting guard out of Boston. I think it's Boston College, named Reggie Lewis, and he and Kenny Walker were the same size, right? Kenny Walker was legit a 6'10" power forward that was actually 6'7", and, and Reggie
In
Lewis,
real time.
right, and Reggie Lewis was legit a 6'7" shooting guard that was legit a six every inch of 6'7", right? And he used to get Kenny Walker on the wing and all the Knicks, right? But we didn't have anybody athletic enough to guard Reggie Lewis, bro. And so he get guys on the wing, and it would sound like NASCAR the way he be going by us on the perimeter, bro.
Kenny just wasn't it.
He just
It's like watching the reincarnation when they drafted Knox.
yeah.
It was like the same, and I don't mean that because they're both light-skinned brothers and whatever, but
Obi Toppin
the
also.
same. It's the same body frame,
Yeah.
athletic, have skills. Here's the thing with Kenny, though. They drafted Kenny to go up against the likes of Kevin McHale. Kevin McHale is 6'11", 230, 240, right? I don't think Kenny Walker was ever more than 210.
Ever.
That's 6'7", 6'8".
Ever.
There was no way physically he was going to be able to match up against that dude unless they were going to give him those German women steroids to get him to be,
have the ladies be like, "Thank you for this award."
the Ava
the German women out there like, "Thank you very much."
The first women that is that a beard? Like really?
Right.
What, is that a 12 o'clock shadow? What the hell is that? Like for real. But there was no way he was going to be able to give the Knicks what they needed. And he never displayed that kind of offense at Kentucky to make me think that he can do that. And when they found out that he wasn't a 4 and they jettisoned him to the 3 and was like, hold on, he can't shoot either.
With no handles,
he don't got no handle. He can't shoot.
Yep.
What is he?
He's Johnny Newman's backup. That's exactly what
he in about a day.
In about a day, bro.
I'm sure Johnny Newman, when he came to the team and looking around, was like, he's your starter? Oh, okay.
All right, we'll see.
We're gonna rectify that just now, and that's exactly what happened.
That's the thing I'm getting at, AD.
That man cried on the court one night. The Knicks fans booed him so bad when Pitino was taking him out, and he kind of was giving him like, hey champ, that pat on the back, it's gonna be all right. What have been Kenny standing there, the tears just welping up, but not like with Brunson and stuff, with tears of joy. When that man looked like he needed help.
That man was out there looking like Dennis Smith Jr. Remember Dennis Smith Jr. cried?
Yes.
Yeah, he was out there looking like Dennis Smith Jr.
Just a broken basketball player.
Yeah.
At that time.
He was trash, bro. And the thing is, the point that I was wanting to make to you is you notice the names that we mentioned at small forward. We were saying names like Johnny Newman, Kenny Walker, during that time, Chris Morris, Dominique Wilkins at small forward. You got all these athletic freak. Dennis Rodman at small forward. and the Knicks traded for Charles Smith and told him to lose 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's weird to me, bro. That was
Well,
even
they had Xavier, but Xavier had bad knees.
yeah.
And depending on who's telling the story, Xavier says the Knicks never gave him he never gave them the call, whatever. The Knicks say that Boston jumped out and he took the first deal. He took the first offer he got,
Right.
and that was it.
Yeah.
But Xavier was only here that one season.
That one season. Yeah.
You would think he was here like 5.
But he was probably one of the best players to ever play with Pat Ewing, bro. In my mind.
In the playoffs, yeah, because he had an up and down season that year because when he got here, the knees and stuff started acting up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and he couldn't go because I've heard him on a couple of podcasts him talking about he couldn't go those 2 days that Riley demanded and then give maximum effort in the game. So, but once the playoffs arrived, if you remembered, it was like a whole new. It's like a different. It's like a different guy.
Yeah,
like he took it back to Xavier.
Yeah.
Seattle.
Yeah, yeah.
Bump Phoenix. I mean Seattle Xavier.
Yeah.
Just nasty. I mean, he did some things to Scottie Pippen in that 91-92 playoff series that he was just looking for a fight. He was just looking for a fight. And poor Scottie, Scottie wasn't that type of dude, but to his credit, he made it through.
Right. Yeah, man. I'm not even gonna lie to you. There were some things, but that Charles Smith trade, the one that jettisoned Mark Jackson, I think Mark Jackson is still hurt by that trade. Right. But it's one of those things when we look at it, and I think RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley will be in that same category also. Bro, when you're young, you have to be ready for this trip that this team is getting ready to go on, right? Like, for instance, this team, I think the Knicks are in a position where we'll probably go. We're just about to get in that spot where I think the Knicks were in the 90s, right? Where we're about to go on a sustained run of excellence with guys like I can't see this team the way it's built missing the playoffs in the foreseeable future if injuries. Sans injuries or whatever, right? But if the young guys are not ready to be that, bro, you got to get them out of here and get somebody. And salute to Mark Jackson, because you and I legit beef over Mark Jackson. I think Mark Jackson is an Indiana Pacer. I don't think of Mark Jackson as a Knick. I think of Mark Jackson as fat number 31 on the Knicks bench. That's how I see Mark Jackson. Others see Mark Jackson as the young, spry point guard, throwing the lobs to Pat Ewing, getting out on the break and running, getting Pat easy shots.
I'm going to be fair to Mark. I'm not going to hold you, right? When Mark came in, Mark had the Jeremy Lin effect before Jeremy Lin, if you want to be fair.
Yeah.
Patrick is coming off 2 injury seasons.
Yep.
They're called. I mean, there were people.
3 out of 4 injury seasons.
Yeah.
His rookie season, he was hurt too.
Yeah, he's hurt. And they were just the team as a whole and the management, they were just heavy-footed. Yeah. They're holding on to Bill Cartwright after another injury. They got guys with the name of Ken the Animal Bannister, Eddie Lee Wilkins.
They let Darryl Walker walk after they drafted him over Clyde Drexler.
Yeah, they had a lot of.
Oh my God!
They hadn't, outside of Pat, they hadn't drafted anybody worth anything in a long time.
Was wanting to come here. You remember a dude named Otis Birdsong?
Yeah.
Dudes want to come here and play for the Knicks. You remember Buck Williams?
Yeah,
was playing for the Nets.
yeah. But Mark's that rookie season, which I think is his highest assist average per game, even though he's like number 3 all time in assists or something like that. That rookie
Right.
season, I think he averaged like 10.9 or something.
Yeah.
That rookie season, he he did for Pat what Magic did for Kareem,
Yeah. Yeah.
because he could run. Although you could call him whatever, that man could run a break.
Right. He
That
played
man could
on his
I
textbook
he could identify the open guy. He could see the pass. He could see the
and
play and
manipulated.
where you should be and
Yep.
put the pass there.
Agreed. 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 Yep.
Not fast, just twitchy.
Right.
And here's one thing that's gotten him in trouble over the years, and it shouldn't. One's thought of oneself shouldn't have any bearing on what society feels. If I'm confident in how I feel and how I look, why do you care?
Right. Right.
Mark was super confident. I
Right.
remember when they made the Mo Cheeks trade, right? And they were interviewing Mark one day. I can't remember who it was. I can't remember. I don't want to call a bad name, a wrong name. And the reporter was like, "Hey, is Mo Cheek someone that you look up to?" And by this time, Mark was like a third or fourth year, and Mark said, "I don't look up at him. I look at him eye to eye because he's my peer." And the next thing you know, the story is Mark Jackson is disrespecting Mo Cheeks. How dare I'm like,
Yeah.
well, Mo just got here. He ain't got no skin in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm NBA All-Star second year. I'm Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I help you guys get back to the playoffs. You missed the playoffs like 5-6 straight years, and here's a guy asking me, should I respect some guy who's
And
never
you
played
hadn't
a
had a
minute
point
here?
guard. And you hadn't had a point guard since Michael Ray Richardson remember Michael Ray Richardson stepped off the floor and missed a game. And from that time during that season, all the way up to draft night when Mark Jackson was drafted, you did not have a viable point guard.
At all.
You
So
didn't have a point guard for like 5 straight seasons.
if you're Mark Jackson to be 100, you needed to get traded out of New York at that time. It was over.
Yeah.
It really was, because by the time in between Stu Jackson and Pat Riley is McLeod.
Yeah.
McLeod benched him.
Yeah. McLeod was in a bad spot too, bro, by the way. I always felt.
What do you mean? Your buddy's the general manager, and he gives you a job to the highest rated team in the NBA. That's a bad situation.
Yeah.
It's not like they hired him for Sacramento.
No. I'm talking about the roster, right? Like when you look at Pat Ewing's early years, man, what are you doing with Pat Ewing and Cartwright, bro?
They tried to make him a power forward.
Right. Why?
Because that's what Hubie Brown, and that's what the prevailing thought of the day was. We're gonna get our Houston's twin tower.
Yeah, and
We're
they
gonna
were trying to get all of Pat Ewing's early athleticism out of him. Right? They saw that he could shoot a little bit. He wasn't just shoot. Now, mind you, 1987 Pat was not 1997 Pat when it comes to shooting. Now, he got better over the years, right? He got, by the time 93 was here, Pat Ewing was a shooter, deadly, right?
No, I think he was a shooter long before then. He was a shooter long, because remember, I remember this game, Freezy, like was yesterday.
The Boston game, we always talk about.
No, not even that Boston game. There's a game against the Bullets. I think he's playing up against Jeff Roundtree.
No, you're talking about
Yeah.
Jeff Rulin.
No. Roundtree. Rulin is not. Rulin
You talking about the black dude?
Yeah. Rulin
He was
was the guy.
backup for like 3 years.
Yeah, but it was, but these moments I remember Ewing was literally giving it to him. Pause. Right?
So
Ewing
Ruin was
had,
with the Sixers by then. Is basically what you saying?
yeah.
Oh, okay, okay.
Ewing had the Ewing. I don't know when it happened, but all of a sudden he had developed the turnaround fadeaway,
Yeah.
and I think Basketball Reference can speak to this. I think he scored 47 that night
Okay.
in old Landover, Maryland. And all he did that night was turn around, fade away. Turn around, fade away.
Against the Baltimore Bullets.
I think he did it like 18 straight times. Not well, he didn't score 18 straight points, but all of his baskets were like 18 straight baskets was like a turnaround fade.
Right, right.
So he had, and we had. I remember thinking, wow, I didn't see this in Georgetown. He didn't have
Oh
this.
no, he didn't have that in Georgetown, bro.
No, he didn't have this. But I heard him on an interview. He said he always had it, but they had other guys that could shoot,
Nah,
and
Pat.
that wasn't his role.
No, I watched games with early Pat where he needed a move and he didn't have a move to go to. You know what I'm saying? I was there with early Pat. Now maybe our memories are fuzzy, but I remember Pat not having a go-to move. I remember Pat's move before the fadeaway was the pump fake on a, because what it is Pat was more athletic than the other. So Pat could pump fake you and dribble once and dunk at the rim.
Yes.
That was Pat's move back then. It wasn't pull up in your face. When people started sagging off of that, I remember Pat Ewing being stationary and shooting 10-foot, 12-foot jumpers. And then like one day out of the blue, this dude got up fake fadeaway spin opposite baseline. AD, I'll tell you when I remember seeing it be a weapon. The game Knicks versus Orlando against Shaq. Right? Knicks versus Orlando versus Shaq. It was like 92. And I know he probably had it before then, but I'm saying for my memory, I remember he couldn't go around Shaq, right? And everybody, I'm talking about 295-pound Shaq, right? I'm talking about 7'1", 295, run like a deer, stamina all day, jump out the gym Shaq is what I'm talking about. Pat Ewing was pump faking and Shaq wouldn't. Shaq just had his hand up. And Pat tried to shoot over Shaq and Shaq was palming his shot. And then from there, I remember Pat getting the ball and spinning away from Shaq baseline like James Edwards. You remember James Edwards?
Yeah.
Pat was doing the James Edwards fadeaway in Pat face and Shaq face, and Shaq couldn't stop it. And you could see the frustration in Shaq's face because he could stop everything. Pat was at that point, Pat wasn't more athletic than Shaq. He wasn't stronger than Shaq.
No.
Shaq didn't fall for the pump fakes or none of that stuff. And Pat had to go to an alternate move, and he whipped out that James Edwards. And once he whipped out that James Edwards, bro, nobody ever remembered James Edwards after that. Right?
His score, like I said, because he had developed the left hand. Like I literally remember him crossing over to the left hand and dunking on Sam Bowie.
And Robert Parrish.
With the left hand.
The one that Robert Parrish.
With the left hand, like literally cross, catch it with the left hand, dribble, go in, take it down.
Yes.
But
I remember him doing that same move, dunking on Benoit Benjamin with two hands, bro.
Yes. I remember that as well. Yes.
Benjamin with
two hands. Yes.
Bro, that was a filthy.
He doesn't get it. He doesn't get enough credit for his offensive. As time goes on, by the time they make another anniversary list, they would have removed Ewing off of the list.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
because you'll then have Joker and Embiid.
Yeah.
By the time they make another, they'll have a reason to move Ewing off of the list.
Yeah, and then plus, I think Dwight Howard should be on that list. Also, Dwight Howard's not top 75 all time, and that's the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen in NBA stuff. That's got to be all politics. That man was Defensive Player of the Year like what 5 years in a row.
His prime years are better than Anthony Davis's.
Yeah, his prime
And
years.
Davis is on the top set. And some of these guys, and it's no disrespect to them, you know.
Right.
When I heard Dame was top 75, I was like, so you're gonna have Dame and Harden?
You gonna have Dame over
I'm
Hal
like,
Greer?
you're gonna have Dame and Harden? Like, no disrespect, but no, I can't do that. Dame is not a better player than Bernard King. I'm sorry.
No, no, he is not.
Sorry.
No, he is not, bro. Yeah, yeah. Dave DeBuscher is on top 75 all time. I think that's a
If you want to say you want to push Dave off because he's just not Dwight Howard. Okay,
yeah.
that's fine. But the thing is, with that list, Freezy, you just can't just take away all of the foundational pieces and forget about them as time goes on, because it's a prettier game, or it's the athletes are just that much better today. That's not
And
fair.
so,
That's not fair as well.
so I was wrong. So Hal Greer is on the list. I was gonna say Dame on the list and Hal Greer is not. Hal Greer is on the list. I was gonna say Hal Greer is probably one of the best scoring guards you ever saw in your life. You're not gonna see many more than Hal Greer. So, but you know who is not on the list? Calvin Murphy.
I don't think you could put Calvin Murphy on that list.
Yeah, I think you gotta go Calvin
I
Murphy,
don't think
man.
you could put Calvin Murphy on that list. And there's no slight to Calvin Murphy, because I remember 5'9" Calvin that you just couldn't stop. But
No.
I don't think you could put Calvin Murphy on that list.
Yeah.
If Dennis Johnson is not on that list, Calvin Murphy can't be on that list.
Um. Yeah. Yeah.
If Dennis Johnson is not on that list, Calvin Murphy cannot be on that list. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a lot of guys that that have legit beef when it comes to that's why I was never a guy when it comes to these lists and stuff like that, because it makes a good argument, good sports bar argument and stuff like that. But then the dudes who actually played the game, they start going by the list to measure their careers sometimes. And I don't want to speak out of turn for some of these dudes, but they then get offended as to their ranking in the list or the non-list and this, that, and the third. Like when we were younger, Freezy, you never heard conversations about who's the greatest, this, that, and the third. It was just known.
Right.
It was just known who the dudes were.
Right. Right.
And that was it. Now with today's talking heads every day, if we were to count how many times we've heard Stephen A. Smith call LeBron James the number 2 greatest ball player of all times, it probably would be in the thousands.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're saying something thousands of times and it's being broadcast to millions and millions of people every day, are you not mind fucking people?
Yeah. Basically.
That was never the thing when we was young. We had our own individual who we thought was best. Oh, you a Clyde dude, or I'm Bernard, and because that was just our own guys that we gravitated to. But it was never the conversation like this dude is the greatest. And no, when did that start?
Yeah, it's a difficult conversation, man. When you look at the list and you see Elvin Hayes' name on the list, when you see Elvin Hayes' name and you don't see Dwight Howard, you're like, And Elvin Hayes was a baller, by the way. The Baltimore Bullets during the 70s were probably akin to
And champion.
the Boston Celtics of today, where they had two good young dudes playing together at the same time for an extended amount of time. That
Look,
That's what Baltimore was like with Elvin Hayes and Wes Unseld.
Here's why in my mind Elvin makes it over Dwight for me, and Dwight I'm more familiar with, right?
Right, right,
Okay. You've heard me say moments matter on these airwaves a gazillion times.
right.
The biggest or the largest basketball game of its time, and maybe in for any time, is UCLA against Houston in the dome. 100 people. UCLA is undefeated at the time. That's Kareem. That's Lou Alcindor. Elvin Hayes, who's only 6'9", is going up against 7'4" Lou Alcindor and takes him.
Right,
Dwight Howard don't got no moments like that.
right, right. No doubt.
There's levels to this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can. Yeah, I think you. Great point. I think you have a great point, bro.
See, some of these moments and times that some of these players have been in, like, when is the last time you heard of that game?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
And I'm gonna be fair to Kareem. Kareem had a scratch cornea.
Right.
Plays anyway, but you know what? You show up, you play.
You
It's
show
what
up.
it is.
Yeah, yeah. I had a scratch cornea before too, bro. It's like the itchy, burny, bro. It's like the worst. I had a. I had a scratch cornea.
Mm-hmm.
I had a scratch cornea and a donut. I had a scratch cornea on one eye and a donut on the other one. Not a mouse. You know how you get your eye get puffy, you get a mouse under your eye. I had legit a donut around my eye,
You
like from
you
from
you
from
you
messing
get
around.
in this boxing frame of mind this weekend here, Freezy. It started with Agano when you called me on, was it Thursday night, Friday night? When you called me. You've been in like this. Are you like having
I'm,
second
I'm,
thoughts? You
I'm
wanna
bro. This is every day. It's every
you
day.
you wanna reapproach the Green Street, you know, championship again? Like,
Nah, I was telling. Nah, I was telling my cousin. I was talking to my cousin about that. We were talking about some other stuff, and that came up. And then kind of find out, man, a lady that used to work there, we know, passed away. And it just
mhm,
made me sad when I think about it. She used to fry
rest
all the
in
chicken
peace.
baskets. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? You could get a leg quarter and fries and a drink for $3 back in them days, bro. You legit get a leg quarter,
You had a real meal.
2 pieces of bread, fries, and like an Aussie cola.
uh,
Right, for like $3. That was good eating back then, bro. That was money. Well, and you got to get your box and sit down in them folded chairs around the ring and watch boxing. But but my thing is though, the reason why I bring it up AD is because I love boxing, man. I just love it, bro. I mean, so I'm not gonna go all Curtis Blow and say basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court, bro.
Bruh.
Raw. Right? But what I will say is I love all the sports equally, but man, boxing has a special place in my heart because of the place that it has in society.
I don't know why anymore, because like I told you the other night, it's rare that I watch today's fights, or I don't want to say rare, but I watch more of yesteryear's fights
Right.
than I do today. And you called me upset about Igano. Like,
Man,
like AD, how could he leave with his head? How can he leave with his
you gonna
head?
walk, bro, how you gonna walk right into a right hand? You looking at the dude, bro. You ain't even got your hand up. You walking right, and you know he gonna want to finish you because he just knocked you down.
What did I say? I said, Freezy, Eganu and guys like him, they're nothing more than what used to be the tough man competitions.
Yep.
Right? Remember those tough man competitions that, in various, places throughout the United States and whatever, and people, where women would fight. Man, I mean, they were just, it was a big thing, like in the late '70s, early '80s.
bro.
Agano and guys like him, he's a tight end. He's a
Yeah,
defensive end. He's not a
yeah,
boxer.
yeah. He's a fighter, brawler, scrapper, bro.
Yeah.
But the thing I will say, the thing I want to mention to those that watch MMA and those that watch boxing, I understand that in MMA dudes can be powerful, bro. But these boxers, they don't have several martial art talents. They have one skill, and that's the fight. That's the punch, right? So they've been learning how to punch. They've been learning how to knock the hell out of somebody, right, for a long time. Not grappling, you know what I'm saying, and not some mixed martial art where they're gonna kick you in the thigh or kick you in the These dudes have learned how to sit on their punches their entire life. So when that man walked across the ring, and that's the easiest punch Anthony Joshua has ever thrown. I'm not saying it was a soft punch because it was damn sure a hard punch, but I'm saying it was the easiest punch ever to execute. He hit that man right below the lip. He hit that man right below the lip with a right hand, bro.
Pop goes the weasel.
And for those that don't know what that area is, right below the lip, it's called your chin.
Mm,
He hit that man dead on his chin.
sweet spot.
Yeah, yeah. Your body can't take it. That's the part of your body. It's like you have to protect the triangle, protect your temples, and protect your chin. You know what I'm saying? You got to protect those spots because if you get hit in your temple, your body do some stuff, some weird stuff, and no matter how much heart you got, your body is basically like your computer rebooting itself. Yeah, when your computer's rebooting, it don't matter how much heart you got trying to stand up. It don't matter because if the computer's rebooting, it's rebooting.
Boxing is just not the same. So for you to get up in arms about it, I'm like, dude, watch an old fight.
Yeah, I
I'd
watched
watch an old fight before I'd watch a Gano. I can't because I
I
don't look at
watched
him. I
Julian
can't do
Jackson.
it. Okay.
I think I watched Julian Jackson the other day. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Definitely exciting. Boxing is just not the. There's no for. You could say whatever you want about this dude, but when he was around and in his heyday, you didn't have to ask whether boxing still had panache, still had excitement.
right.
Don King gave you that,
Yeah,
right? There's no Don King today.
right.
There's no, you know what I'm saying, that the circus is coming to town
There's no more Burt
effect.
Sugars. You remember Burt Sugar? Burt Sugar
There's
used
no
to
Burt
like,
Sugar.
yeah, Burt Sugar used to be like, yo, this dude is a clown. What are we watching? Remember Burt Sugar used to keep
Yeah.
it.
Who look
Larry
like
Merchant. Remember Larry
Or look
Merchant?
like Grandpa Munster. There's no Burt shit. As much as we used to get up in arms again about things that Larry Merchant used to say. There's no Larry Merchant
Right.
in today's boxing broadcasting. Showtime just got out of the business like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Closed their doors after 30 years.
Yeah.
HBO got out of the business like what 6-7 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the product is so watered down, you got to get out ahead of the curve. You don't want to be left holding the bag, basically.
But
So
they allowed themselves that position by doing dumb things like trying to keep guys undefeated
yeah,
and discarding a guy once he took an L.
you're right.
It's like
It's,
the dumbest thing. I'm like, so if he takes so he was never anything in the giddy up
right. Yeah.
because one L shouldn't make him trash.
Right.
2 L's, 5 L's.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Because
seen dudes with some crazy records over the years, Freezy, and when they had their prime space of time, they barely lost, if had a loss. But boxing allowed that narrative to be a part of the game. That you see these guys, it's 30-0, 29-1.
Right.
That's not real boxing. Everyone trying to chase that Floyd-ish undefeated Kazaki undefeated, like
Yeah.
99.9% of the men and women that has, did I say women in boxing? Yes.
Yeah.
99.9% of the men and women that participated in boxing have taken a L.
Bro, and the thing about fighting is this. The one thing I'll tell you guys up close and personal, right? No fighter is ever gonna win every round of every fight or win every fight. Some people are gonna a lot of these guys that are undefeated in the ring, they usually lost in sparring, right? There'll be some sparring that they absolutely they might go a whole month getting they behind beat, and they'll come up with like the injury. Like it'll be say you got a sprained wrist, but you can fight through it, right? They'll be like, no, we got to postpone the fight because of a sprained wrist. And what they do in that time is, of course, they get you healthy, but they work on your technique. Like, yo, what is going on?
and
Yeah,
and now you got in these guys are having these carnival acts now, and I've never want to associate Mike Tyson with anything that doesn't seem authentic.
right.
But Mike Tyson is what, 62, 60, 61, 62 years old,
Yeah,
who's now gonna fight this dude who's not a boxer. And the thing is, that dude is more popular than any boxer fighting today.
right, right.
That's what boxing has allowed
Did you see the
itself to
contract?
get
That
into.
dude, that dude, AD. I'm sorry about cutting you up, but that did you see
Uh-huh.
the contract that the dude signed? He's
That-
basically coming in the ring in a shark cage. Basically, this dude's got everything to protect him, bro. This dude's got like headgear. I think he gonna wear a catcher's mitt. I think this dude's gonna wear. This dude is going
Instead of keep making great fights and
right,
keep hitting you with more Spence and whatever, like, but you should wake up dizzy from a
right,
combination, all pun,
right,
of combination of cards of the best talent. But no,
right.
you're having 63-year-old former greats in against internet so-called sensations.
Yeah,
And that's now the narrative of your sport. Or if it's not the narrative, it has weaved its way into the narrative.
right, right. Yeah,
For
yeah.
as bad as the NBA, you think football's gonna do no nonsense like that?
No, but the NFL has one sanctioning body, and that's called the NFL. And the NBA is going to have one sanctioning body. It's the NBA. That's why they're trying to stomp out the big three,
Yeah, but the
right?
NFL is so big and it's so a part of your everyday, right? Even the things that we used to love that we could talk about, right? Those competitions when quarterbacks used to have the throwing competitions and stuff like that. When we really remember the skills competitions and Dan Marino winning it at the last throw, hit for like 60
Yeah.
yards, hitting the target.
Quarterback club. Yeah.
Right, the quarterback club and stuff like that. Things that were harmless, right? But just, for us to gauge who we thought really was the guy physically, the NFL did away with that. They could bring that back with no problem.
Yep.
And it wouldn't stain the shield in no kind of way.
Yep.
I'm just saying, no, we don't need that. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, Kickoff returns, an exciting part of the game. You know what? Our
Yeah.
data tell us that a lot of these injuries is happening, this, that, and third, whatever. We're gonna move the line forward, and we're gonna basically eliminate the kickoff
Right.
return game. Have you
Right.
heard anything about that? Why? We're bigger than that.
Yep. Yep. I
Only boxing is with this was with the can't you allowed MMA to get a foothold.
yeah. Yeah.
Make
But
better fights.
I think boxing is done. It's there are some things that are probably just past their prime, and I think boxing is one of them. I think boxing is in that um on that tier of horse racing and ice hockey now, right? Where regardless how popular the champ is and just real quick before we get out of here, right? I think the thing boxing really needs is a young, great American heavyweight, right? Somebody, and I'm not talking about a 30-year-old dude you never heard of. He bust on the scene. He 40 and 0. No, I'm talking about a dude that's 20, a phenom. I think that's what they need. A Cassius Clay. The boxing needs a Cassius Clay, right? A Mike Tyson type. And until they get it, I think boxing is going to be, you know what I'm saying, it.
I don't know if I agree with that part, because boxing's fans, especially when they've been great, the international, could always be, seen and be respected. Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Prince Nassim.
But boxing was diminished then. When Pacquiao was champ,
yeah, but it's not what it is now.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, there was interest. Remember, like I said, when Prince Nassim came here in the Garden and fought Kevin the Flash Kelly, right? He pretty much put Kelly in retirement, but he knocked Kelly down. Kelly knocked him down. He knocked Kelly down. Kelly knocked him down. He then knocks Kelly out, but it propels his career in this part of the sphere because what? Those real boxing fans were still here.
And Kevin Kelly, no lie, everybody, for those that don't know, Kevin Kelly signed the richest endorsement deal with EA Sports the day before he lost.
Yeah.
And he lost, right? And you never heard anything about Kevin Kelly or EA Sports after that. It's sad.
Shout out to Kevin the Flash Kelly from Flushing.
Yeah.
New York's own. Yeah. But we got to get out of here, Freezy. But once again,
Jets, we got to draft somebody.
I don't know where this journey started, but once again, it ended with you. Look
Jets,
for
we
us
need a quarterback and
in the whirlwind. Me and Uncle Freezy. See you next Sunday.
Jets, our defensive line is trash. We need to draft a quarterback, Jets. We need a running back, man. Our running back is terrible. Yeah. Look out your window. Knicks fans is on your block. Y'all know the Knicks run the city. Pull them shades back. Look out your window. Look down there on the block. That's Knicks fans right there.